Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the Aggie Pridecast. I'm Brian Holloway, your host, here once again, and I'm very excited about tonight's show because we got the throwers in the building, man. We talk about A&T track and field as Sprinter U, but the throwers, they do it big, and we have with us Braden Hodges on the men's side, Juliet Wusu on the women's side, and they have been doing it big. Wusu she wins Field Athlete of the Week every week. I mean, it's just automatic. You just pretty much set the clock by it, and Braden Hodges, conference champion many times over, indoor, outdoor, Big South, CAA, however you want to cook it, he wins it. And so very excited about having these two folks here today. North Carolina A&T will host the CAA Outdoor Track and Field Championship starting tomorrow. Speaking of field events, they start at 10 a.m. Tomorrow at Marcus T. Johnson Track. Then we get the running events underway. And so very excited about that. We're going to stream it live on Flow College tomorrow, so you can get the subscription to Flow College and watch the track and field meet for free. But please keep in mind, if you don't, like with Disney Plus and all the other ones, if you don't cancel your subscription, they will charge you after the 30-day free trial. So jump on there, get you a subscription, and watch Juliet and Braden do their thing, watch some of our sprinters do their thing, and watch us go after another conference championship. How you guys doing tonight?
Doing good. How are you?
Great.
Doing great. How did the meeting go? Are we ready to go? Are we psyched? Are we ready to bring them?
Hopefully. So generally we do, like, I know for the men's teams, we kind of separate after we do the main meeting with the actual team. And so we kind of just touch on a couple key points and try to put emphasis on meets like this. It's a big meet. People are coming to our crib, our home. And so we want to put on not only a good showing for the people that's here, but around the country as well. So I definitely think the message was given to all of the younger kids and even the older ones as well.
And yeah, even on the women's side, I really feel like for this season that we're very much prepared. We're coming very hungry, and we know we're coming to the dog town, so we're going to show out, do as much as we possibly can to get that title this time. So not only the men is winning, but we're on top too.
Definitely. All right. Hey, listen, I like a little competition. I like the competitiveness in you. Julie, what is it going to take for the ladies to take, the men got a pub during the indoor first ever program to win a championship in the CAA from North Carolina A&T. What do the ladies have to bring to the table to bring out a title on Wednesday and Thursday?
That is a great question. So right now we're predicted second, I believe, was that? We're kind of like with Hampton at a 20-point lead. Right now, all we can do is those people that are kind of like, in the 8th, 7th, we're trying to make sure that they have the mentality that they're in. They can either jump up to first, but if not first, second. And the people that are in the first place, stay at first. Stay on top. I know we have me winning the predicted win, the shot put, Spirit predicted to win the high jump, long jump, Olivia. So keeping those people at number one and bringing those people from 7 all the way up to second and third is what's really going to make a big difference because, second is the first loser, and I don't like to lose. So Hampton's going to have to step up their game this season right here.
Let me ask you this before I move to Braden. How cool is it to have the two HBCUs in the CAA kind of as the top 2 track and field teams? Is there a sense of pride there? Is there a sense of HBCU pride? And is there a sense of HBCU competitiveness with Hampton standing there with you guys?
It gives big rivalry, but it also like rivalry. I'm so sorry.
It's been a long day.
Yeah, it has been
rivalry.
rivalry. But it also gives big pride, knowing that we are in a predominantly white league and dominating in both, the HBCU world and just in the Black athletics world is a really big accomplishment, and I take so much pride in it. So every time I go out into the circle or to the discus circle, I just got to know that I'm not only representing my school, I'm not only representing me as well, but I'm also representing another young Black girl that may want to choose an institution like A&T or Hampton to come out and throw or sprint for, and just, just setting the example, setting the standard, and not limiting myself because of the competition. And also, making friends. I love the Hampton team. As much as I want to beat them, I love talking to them. I interact with them because at the end of the day, we are an HBCU all together. So I love it.
Outstanding HBCU pride. Braden, let me go to you. Indoor, you guys take the title. What significance did you guys take from that, being the first program from A&T to do it in the CAA, and being able to bring home a conference track and field championships for the first time?
Yeah, so I honestly think it mean a lot, and it's something that can't just be described as present time. I think it goes back to when we first got into the CAA, and when we first left even the MEAC. I was a part of the Big South group, and just understanding that transition and showing that we can showcase our talent on a bigger level than just being in the MEAC, so on and so forth. So I think it more so it pushed out to the public that not only the track and field team, but this is a culture that we're trying to create in athletics in general. I know for track and field, especially, I think what made it so cool was our first time in the CAA, we were at Virginia Beach, actually in that vicinity as well. And I remember getting third, and we had a big team meeting with all of the guys and all of the team, and basically saying, we're going to get another shot at this, and when we do, we're going to be on top. And we fast forward the next year, we didn't necessarily get the result we wanted, but we could see that we were coming. Not only us, but those that were around us as well. Every other school understood that might be their last year, being able to win. And so I think the sweetest thing about it was being able to go back to the place where we first lost, and I wouldn't say get revenge, but more so, have that victory, And so I think it was something that was really, really cool. And kind of piggying back on what you said earlier about us in Hampton, I think it was cool that both of us also won, having another HBCU win. And I remember the celebration when they called the women's name of Hampton and then us as well. Of course, we would want it to be us, but just to have two HBCUs show dominance, in a league that for the longest we haven't been in, to show that we're also capable of excellence. I think that was something that was huge for us.
I think I know your answer to this, but were you, as the men, surprised at the dominance that you guys had back in February? Were you surprised, or did you guys go in expecting to really dominate that meet the way you did?
Honestly, of course, it's any given day, but we pretty much knew that we would come out with the victory. And I think it's not because of just us being up by a lot of points. I think we understood that the preparation we've done in the past, it was enough. You could see the difference between us in the weight room. You could see the difference between us in the track from years previous. And so to see that culture starting to come back, and not only with those who are seniors like myself, but also trickling its way down to some of the freshmen. You can see them buying in, and the sophomores doing things that they haven't did in years previous. So we kind of already knew going into it we were going to win. We didn't know by that many points, so I guess you could say we were surprised at that. But we understood that we could bring one back to Greensboro.
Such a joy to talk to you guys tonight. I find you guys fascinating, first of all,
Okay.
because I want to start with this. For years it's kind of been Sprinter U, and we see the names over there. You guys can see them, the Randolph Rosses and the Sturgis and all those guys, Kayla White. So, they got that, we got that reputation, honestly. But talk about kind of what you guys have been able to contribute to the program. Braden and Julie, if you guys are champions, talk about what you guys have been able to contribute to the program. And does the Sprinter U moniker bother you?
Honestly, I don't think anything about the Sprinter U moniker kind of bother me, because those are the people that kind of get us started. Those are the people that put us on the map. Those are the people that actually got us seen at first. So now me being a thrower in a field event and actually, excelling and doing the best I can to show a bigger light to the field events, especially throws, I think it's needed. I think what I'm doing is very much more needed, and I'm doing everything just because of the fact that not only do I want to be the first um, thrower from this institution to go to nationals and do better, but I also want to set the standard. I always wanted to be a role model, a figure of image, basically, to all those throwers out there that don't think that it's a big enough sport, or a cared enough sport, that it is important. Throws do bring in, not only throws, but fields do bring in a lot of the points that we actually do to be able to come and, compete and win conferences, or at least come close to conferences. So me being this example, showing off how many times I can actually win meets, go out there, give it my all, and, have that confidence and that confidence boost for other people, it's something that I really do take, pride and joy in. Because before, not that many people really knew much about what it takes to be a thrower and how confident we are and why we do it. I always tell my coach that I'm not only doing this for me, but I'm also doing this for her as well and for this school. So yeah, that's all I can really say about on that topic. But it's really something important for me. So when I go out there on Thursday, I'm gonna give it all, do my best. Because at the end of the day, the win's not only for me. The win's not only for my coach, but it's also for the school and the future Aggies that are coming to this school as well. Um, and it's important to know that.
Yeah, and I think kind of touching on what she said a little bit, but going in a little bit of details. So me, her, and then also Carlos Alexander, we all came in together as freshmen, and she was a transfer, but I don't think at the time we understood what we could do. I don't think at the time we understood the significance of us being throwers at a sprint dominant school. And I think as we've been here for 4 years, we understand, how critical it was for the school to have us, to make us a complete team, and I remember being in high school and texting Coach Monroe actually, and I told her, I want to come to A&T not for what you can do for me, but I feel like I could be a missing piece, and that's not only with just points, that's with our leadership as well. I think the three of us that I just named is very it's not as common to have three throwers be, your leaders of the team, but you've seen it just as much as everyone else. We're the loudest, we have the biggest personalities, we get everyone going, we plan all of the events and every occasions, we're kind of like at the forefront of the team. So I think it gives a different dynamic. And not only, like she said, not only for us now, but even the Aggies that are to come. I go on Instagram and I see so many black high schoolers. They DM us and they text us and they ask for tips and they ask for ways to get here. And it's all about making it cool, and I think that's something that we really came and did, and I honestly don't think A&T will understand the impact that we had until we leave, to really see the foundation that we left behind, in the likes of like a Randolph or a Cambria Sturgis. It might not be to that national level, but the significance was still the same. So I definitely think that's something that we came and we took and we ran with it. So I'm glad we were able to do that.
Well, I can tell you this Aggie right here doesn't want to see you go. I
Yeah.
see the I see the numbers come in. I see the records being broken, and I see the respect that you guys have. Athletics Bank, where you guys racked up, you and Julia racked up, which in a way that I've never seen. I'm used to seeing sprinters win those awards, but to see you guys win those awards just kind of says volumes about how far the program has come, and like you said, as a complete program. And Juliet mentioned something that I think I want to piggyback on. What does it take to be a thrower? What does it take to be a successful thrower? We kind of see you guys go through your techniques, but what are some of the tools that go into being successful?
To speak to this very personally, it takes a lot of confidence. You can have all the technique in the world. You can have all the strength in the world. You can have everything in the world. But if you don't have faith and confidence in yourself, that thing is not going nowhere. You are not going up, and it's gonna come right down. I'm telling you right now. Um, I struggled with it a lot coming onto a team that was very much a lot of good people, Olympians, sprinters. Even low when Lauren, she was coming out, a big senior, she's coming in throwing 16 and I'm coming in throwing 13. I never knew. I set myself at a boundary and I closed off my limitation. I had limitations on myself because I didn't expect to see myself reach those goals that everybody had set for me that I did not set for myself. So when I had to kind of, realize that if I don't have faith in myself, I don't have the confidence that I need to be able to go throw far and know I'm going to throw far, confidence in my coach that she's going to tell me what I need to do and I'm going to execute it. And just her speaking life into me and speaking life into myself and my family also playing a part in speaking life into me. I don't think I would be able to reach the escalades that I have reached now. Because there'll be times where I do doubt myself, and those days that I do doubt myself, I don't do my best at all. So even going into this conference right now, I switched up my whole mentality. I switched up my whole vibe, my whole motto, everything, even more. I'm a very perky, very confident, happy person, but I do have my days, and I didn't allow myself, and I'm not going to allow myself as we go on with the season to regionals and potentially nationals to doubt myself in any aspect because I see myself every time doubting myself not going far and not trusting the process. So as I continue to trust the process and literally vision myself in that predicament, in that scene of me at nationals and doing my very much best, proving points, setting standards, moving the bar up. Um, I have to visually see myself there to be able to get myself there. And I always tell my coach this: you always got to think delusional to make it happen. Because if you set yourself into something that you think and you can reach, then you're not gonna get it because now you're being cocky. But if you think delusional about it and think that's just something that's out of the ordinary, that's something you're gonna strive for. Because I love out of the ordinary. I'm always gonna reach for out of the ordinary. Um, so I feel like that's what you need to be able to be a successful thrower. Not only a thrower, but in anything in life. You got to think big to be able to get big.
No question. What does it take for you, Braden, to be a successful thrower?
I think, of course, what she said, and then also I think more on the physical side, I just think it takes a lot of dedication and and patience. So, for men in high school, we throw 12 pounds in the shot put, and we throw 1.6 kilograms in the discus. When you get to college, you throw 16 pounds and you throw 2 kilograms. So the jump might seem like 4 pounds, but man, I tell people to feel like 25 pounds. So it definitely took a lot of getting stronger. It took a lot of dedication, a lot of eating better. And I also had to realize that this is not something you can do by yourself. It's not something that you can do with just coaches. Uh, I had to get my parents more on board, and they had to understand that it was going to take for me to get more meals in. It was going to take for me to eat a better quality of food. And, I had to get better rest and better treatment. A lot goes into it. And that's something that I've learned with being at A&T is that just being talented sometimes isn't enough. You have to put that talent and you have to mix it with, like she said, faith, and then also hard work and dedication, and understand that it's gonna take a long time. So I definitely would say patience. And for both of us, we put in all of the work, for 3 years, and so to finally see us, reap the fruits of our labor, I think that's something that is so cool, and something that we can appreciate. So, to anyone that's younger than us, understand that it's a waiting game, and you can't expect to come in and do the same thing as a sprinter because they've been running 100 meters for 12 years. It's different, being a thrower. It takes a lot more. You have to endure a lot more. So definitely have an open mind and be more patient and just understand that your later is going to always be greater when it comes to throws.
And it also takes a lot of sacrifice
Yeah.
because some people don't want to put, like Brayden said, some people are not willing to put in the time. But when it comes to this sport, you got to give up something to get something.
Yeah.
It's just in the real world too. You got to give up something to get something. I see me, Luch, and Bray, we gave up our winter break. We give up our spring break. We give up all those breaks that everybody gets to go home, see their family, and, have a good chill time, relax, probably not work out as much. We gave up all that so we can be able to, work even harder to even get to this point. I'm not saying you don't have to, you got to go out there and, kill yourself over it, but you got to want it as bad to give up something for it, to get something from it. I feel like if I didn't give up my December and my spring break especially, I don't even think I'd be able to be where I'm at because that was extra work I was putting in the weight room, extra work I was putting in on the track, waking up still when I didn't really have to, and also not seeing my family the whole year. I haven't seen them since August actually. But I'm not mad about it because we still keep in contact and everything, but just sacrificing that much, knowing that I'm going to reap the benefits of me putting in all that work is paying off. Very much so. It's paying off. And I would do it again. And I advise anybody to do it. The break's gonna come eventually when you're done. But right when you have it now is where you need to put your all into it.
Exactly.
So yeah.
Definitely agree with that.
Well said. We are here with Braden Hodges and Julia Wuso. They are big-time throwers on the North Carolina A&T track and field team. Where they are sitting now is where the CAA championships will take place starting tomorrow, concluding on Thursday at Marcus T. Johnson Track. They got the press box in the background. That's a nice look. I love it. Great job, guys. And they are looking to, win more championships. Julia was a part of that Big South Indoor Championship team. Braden coming off that CAA Indoor Championship team with the Aggies in February and hopefully having a little more success. I want to ask you guys a little bit about your background. Starting, we got one from Massachusetts, got one from Texas, so that's not exactly very close
Yeah.
to North Carolina. And so, just kind of wanted to talk about your journey to Aggie land from faraway places. I'll start with you, Brady.
So being from Texas, I'm 17 hours away, and this is somewhere that I didn't think I would be at. So I always tell people this story. In high school, they have the New Balance Nationals meet. They used to have it here at A&T, and I remember sitting across from the general classroom building. Me and my dad sitting in the car, and I was like, man, I would never come to a school like this. I would never go to a school, HBCU. I didn't think it, being an athlete at the time. It wasn't necessarily cool, but I remember I'm a big track head, and I remember seeing what Trevor Stewart was doing and what Kayla White was doing, being the first national champ, and then Cambria Sturgis running, the all wins, best time in collegiate history, things of that nature. And I always told myself, like, man, like I said, I could go and help that team. I could go and be that missing piece to them, constantly getting second and getting third, allowed me to go and do something for people that look like me, and so that's something that I took heed to, and so I reached out to Coach Monroe. We kind of had some contact, and I was pretty, well, not pretty. I was highly recruited and stuff out of college. I mean, out of high school. So I had a lot of schools, but ultimately, I knew that A&T was a spot for me, and I got out here by myself. Didn't really know too much. I didn't know anyone. I didn't take a visit. This was around COVID and stuff like that. But I just kind of took a leap of faith. And turns out it's the best decision I've made. I've met so many incredible people, some of my best friends, so many coaches that I've come in contact with and stuff like that. I think it was all a part of the journey. So it's something that's definitely cool to be able to not only experience it myself, but share it with those who came in with me, like some of the kids from Virginia or Massachusetts as well. It's something that I would have never, in a million years, I couldn't have thought, this far ahead.
And for me, coming from Boston, Massachusetts, I never thought I would actually see myself down here. And I don't think my parents either. Both of my parents from straight from Nigeria. And they went to Boston, started off and everything. And they always told me that I couldn't go to any school unless it's in Boston because, they're from out there, so they want to keep their kids close and everything. But something told me that Boston wasn't my limitation, and so I'm the first of five. So obviously, they had a lot of concerns. I went to Franklin Pierce University, just an hour away, next state over, just to see how my parents would handle it. Did track there. I walked onto the track team over there because I didn't get any of my offers currently at the moment at that time. But I wasn't even meant to be a thrower. Starting off in high school, I was a sprinter and a jumper. Um, and then ended up doing shot put because one girl didn't show up to her track meet and they needed a replacement. Ended up winning there, and they kept me sprinting and jumping through high school. Then I came through college and I was still sprinting and jumping at Franklin Pierce University in New Hampshire. And even though I was doing very well over there, something in my heart told me that I was more, that I needed more and I needed better. So I started looking into different HBCUs because, of course, I'm from up north. So I didn't really hear much about HBCUs until I started doing my research on different ones. And I came upon Howard at first, but then I saw that I think it was Cambria Surges at the Olympic trials. And I was watching the Olympic trials and I said, that's an HBCU I've been looking at. And then I was seeing Randolph Ross and I said, wait, oh my goodness, like this is an HBCU. Let me call the coach. I know they need a thrower or something. I called Coach Monroe. She got back to me immediately. Emailed everything. Next, I was at A&T, and honestly, I wish I knew about A&T way earlier because if that was the choice, I could have chosen it a long time ago. So just going through, going through my parents' boundaries and seeing where I can set myself was kind of a challenge because now my sibling goes to now Arkansas, another HBCU, the
Little
HBCU
Rock.
Pine Bluff in Little Rock.
Yeah, Palm Bluff.
Oh, Pine Bluff, yes. She goes there now. She just transferred there. They're D1. She plays volleyball there. And my sister actually ended up coming to A&T with me. And my parents didn't think of like my parents didn't think that we would ever step out of Boston because of the schools in Boston. But now that we're out in, the United States doing what we can, excelling in sports and everything, they're very much more comfortable and lenient. So I'm kind of happy that I can give my parents that, comfortableness and that, security that we can go out into the real world and actually do and excel and everything. So I'm very thankful for even finding A&T setting me up to be the best I possibly can, because I don't think my parents would ever let their my baby brother go anywhere else after that. So, but yeah.
Shout out to AT Roy listening to us. He wants you to know that he's 39% Nigerian.
Oh,
So
I
that's
love
kind
that. I
of,
love that.
yeah, that's kind of exact. I don't know where 39 came from, but apparently he has that measured out pretty well. So
Yeah.
shout out to him. Let me ask you this. I find perhaps kind of being a thrower is almost like being an offensive lineman. Maybe like nobody really sets out to be an offensive lineman. You
Mm-hmm.
just it's kind of where they put you. Um, was that the same for you guys? You kind of hinted on it there a little bit, Julia. When did you guys know that throwing would be where you would excel? At what point did that kind of come to fruition for you?
Um, so how I mentioned before, in high school, I did sprinting and jumping, and someone didn't show up for their event, and they needed one more person to throw, so they stuck me in there, and I ended up winning. I never saw I've been doing track since middle school. My baby sister is usually the one that did shot put, and I was like, oh no, that ball too heavy. I'm not gonna be able to throw that. So when I went to high school, and my coach kind of was like, "You can do this," and I actually did it, and I did well. That's kind of what was the game point, the changing point for me. And then when I was going to Franklin Pierce and I was excelling and I was winning their conferences and stuff, that's what really gave me the realization that I definitely can take my skills to an upper level and a better level where I can be able to um, throw with the big dogs, because I think it was UMass Lowell. Um, at one of these meets, and I'm at a D2 school and they're D1, and I'm whooping them. And I said, yeah, I think I need to go D1 for real. So when I came over, I was under the impression that I was still gonna run, but coach told me those days are over once I got
They
over
was
here.
long gone.
Long
Long
gone when I
gone.
got over here. But I am appreciative because me locking in and staying on point with shot put really opened up, not only shot put and discus, really opened up my potential to be one of the greatest, or even the greatest. I know I'm talking a little bit, I think
Hey,
delusion is
hey,
where I
claim that.
am.
Claim
But
that.
yeah, she really unlocked uh she really unlocked something in me to be able to, excel and be where I'm at right now.
No question. When
Yeah,
did
and
you break?
yeah, so mine is a little different. So, being from Texas, you understand how, crucial and vital sports are. Sports is the biggest thing. So this is actually my going on my 17th year doing the shot put. So it's been a long, long, long journey. So my dad kind of got me into it. My dad coached all of my cousins and stuff. So my family has a rich history of sports. But I always did football, basketball, and track, and I would do baseball occasionally. So my parents kept me in a sport. You could never catch me in a weekend, and I didn't have a sporting contest. But I think I probably got around ninth or 10th grade, and I started to see some of the success. And I've always been one of the tops in the country. So but seeing it on in a high school level, I think it meant a little more. And so that was something that I started to say, man, I might could take this more serious, and honestly, to your point earlier, it wasn't necessarily cool in my area, but I feel like I was able to make it cool, with just my personality and how vibrant I was. And I remember being in high school, and we would have more people watching the shot put than we would watching the sprints, just because of the attention that we had, throughout the entire city. So that's something that I always carry with me and tried to make it as cool as possible. It's not everyone's first choice, but it is something that's entertaining once you actually start to understand the ins and outs of it. And even transferring that, getting into college. I remember me and Julius being when we first got here, and we used to have to ask the team, "Can y'all please come watch? Can y'all please come watch?" Because people generally don't. And you look now, you will have to tell the team they have to move away, when it's time for us to compete, because now they appreciate the work that we put into it. And they understand, that we're more than just throwers. They understand that we bring more to the table, and that essentially, like you were saying, we've made throwing cool. And it's not only just the team, if you ask anyone on campus, you say, name a couple people out the track team, 9 times out of 10, they're going to name us first, and so I definitely think it's something that we've made more, attractive. And that's something that we've always said we were going to try to do before we left, is make it something that it's the main attraction. And it's not just well, y'all go over there and go get a couple points for us. It's something that when we start the meeting, we want to hear the throwers got to set the tone. The throwers have to be at the forefront of everything. And I think that's something that we definitely accomplished while being here.
Julius mentioned a little bit. I want to ask you, Braden. You've got some program records. What does it mean for you to leave a legacy here at North Carolina A&T? When you look back 10 years from now, what would that mean to you?
Everything, and I think it means everything to me because I remember being that freshman wanting all of these things. And I remember being that freshman, and I'm one of those kids who I'm gonna look up every single stat since A&T's been open. So I know every single thing. I know almost every thrower who's ever thrown at A&T. And I have a certain level of appreciation, and I appreciate those who come before me. And I feel like you can't leave a legacy if you don't know, your history. And so it definitely is something that it always stuck with me, being the best, in 10 to 15 years, I want to come back for a GHO, and my name is still in the record book, hopefully, but more so than anything, I want them to understand that, it took me laying the foundation. It took me, going without a shot put at times, and advocating for us, and advocating to the school that we need certain things in order to be successful. So more so than anything, being a pioneer, and I always think we've had a couple good throwers here, but we haven't had anyone that changed the trajectory. We've kind of been stagnant as a male thrower group here at A&T. So I always wanted to be a person who I could increase the situation instead of pull away from it. So definitely, I will say, and this is to anyone watching, who is a little bit younger. We've put in a lot of time, a lot of effort to get to this point where we're at. We've gotten a lot of new things, a lot of new equipment. We've changed the outlook of coaches and stuff, and the appreciation around us. We've done that to leave a legacy behind for you guys, and somewhere where you could feel appreciated from day one. Because being real with you, we didn't feel appreciated from day one. It was some days where I remember calling Jew and saying like, man, I don't know if they really care about us, the same way as they do sprinters, but we made it our effort to try to push this thing forward and leave it better than where we found it.
Yeah, I want to piggyback on that legacy question because I want to bring Julius in here and ask both of you guys, what would it mean to you guys? Because it would be a legacy thing to make NCAA nationals.
Um, Legacy wise, I think it's just something that's become my dream right now, my motivation. I look in my coach's eyes and she tells me all the time that every time she's going to national, she don't got nobody there. She's really just like kind of like assisting. So I want her to experience a nationals where the people that she's close with, because I am very close with my coach. I want to give her that not only legacy, but that gift of the fact that she trained somebody to go to nationals, that her efforts were not overlooked and somebody believed in her and she believed in somebody to get them where they need to be. Um, I as much as like I said, the legacy thing is completely dear to my heart because I want the next person to come and have the drive to beat me and the drive to take that from me and be their motivation and pour into them like, oh, she has this. Well, I want to get to that standard. I want to get to that level so I can be able to be her second person at national and her third person at national. I want to set the tone where it's that every time they look back at NCAP throws, it's Juliet Nwosu that set the bar, and Coach Monroe took me there. It's bigger than a legacy. It's bigger than me. It's big, and not only that, like, not only in one event, possibly two.
Oh man, no, no, no. Can we get them back to us? We're having some technical difficulties here on the Aggie Pridecast. hoping to get Braden and Juliet back. Having a great conversation with them. They were down at, here we go.
Can you see us?
I can.
Okay, it went away. It went away. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Um, but back to what I was saying, just being, I love the fact that I can leave a little legacy for me because then it's just gonna keep the next people going. Um, and not only that, it just keeps my coach going and giving her not only the security, not saying that she doesn't, but it also gives her the confidence that the next person that she brings in, she can bring them above that standard that I have set. Um, so I love being a legacy. Well, I like saying that I am a legacy because at the end of the day, I have set standards that um at A&T that I don't think anybody has except for Lo. I'm not gonna throw her out there, but she was the one that I was following suit. I just had to rise above her, you know. And I hope that for the next Aggie thrower, that she comes in and she sees my name and she wants to rise above that too. She wants to beat my standard. She wants to beat my legacy. She wants to be the next person. And I love the fact that I could be that person for them. Um, so yeah.
Yeah, and I think kind of just elaborating a little bit on what she said, but um, I think it gives a sense of pride when you've seen people before you do something that you want to do. And it's easier to accomplish a dream if you've seen the dream already accomplished. So I think that's something that both of us take pride in, not only just us, but everybody else around. And kind of just to allude to the men's side of things, she had a Lauren James before, that she could visually see, and so I take it upon myself to be that quote unquote Lauren James, be that person who breaks the iceberg and gets the ball rolling, and I think life is so much easier when the ball is already going. It'll be so much easier for the incoming freshmen if I've already pushed the standard and created a certain culture, that everyone else can achieve instead of they have to come in and do the same things that we had to do. So I think making it to nationals, because that's the goal, for both of us. I think that's something that honestly we can't even see. It's something that is so close, but yet so far, but something that we know we can achieve it. We just continue to put our head down and continue to show up and work. And so I think, as I said, me personally, I think it would mean more to me because I understand some of the dealings that people before me had to go through, and I understand how tough it was. I understand how many no's were said, and I want to be the person to be able to say yes. So that's something that I hold on my chest as well. Being able to get my coach there, as she said, and I don't want my coach to feel like a third wheel. When every other coach has an athlete, and she's texting us like, man, I hope y'all are there next year. I hope y'all are there next year. And so we don't have a next year, but we do have this year. And so we want to make sure that we obtain all of the things that we've set out. And I have no doubt in my mind that we'll be able to.
Yeah, shout out to Lauren James. Talk about pioneer, MEAC champion. Certainly went to preliminary round and did an excellent job. So piggybacking on that, Braden, what has having Carlos with you meant for you, and what have you guys pressed upon Alex Henry as you guys move forward?
I think having Los, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him. I think having a running mate, everyone needs that because it is going to be days where I'm not 100%. It's days where I'm not mentally there, and so to see him bring that passion and the desire that gets me back on track. So having someone who is a like-minded thinker, someone who is also trying to achieve some of the same things as me and the same age as me, that's something that I absolutely love. And fun fact, Los is probably, if you ask anyone else, say Los is probably my best friend, so we talk every single day, not only just about track, but life outside of track, because we understand that it is hard being just an athlete, at this campus, and bigger than anything, being a black man, in society. So we touch bases with each other in every facet of life, and to Alex, that's like our little brother, all of us. And we understood that we could help him in certain areas that we necessarily lacked in. And we didn't have seniors coming in. We didn't have anyone that was a male that showed us the ropes. And so being a foundation setter for him, being someone that he can lean on, if he needs a ride to the calf, if he needs a ride to go get food or a haircut, I want to be that person that can always help him. And not just because doing a good deed, but to show him this is what being a leader looks like. This is what being a man amongst men looks like. And so that's something that I try to preach to him, and Carlos does as well. But I definitely credit a lot of my success, to both of them because they've pushed me in ways that I necessarily wouldn't have done if it wasn't for them. So very appreciative of both of them.
Both of you guys mentioned Coach Monroe. What has she meant to both of you guys as a coach and probably as a confidant?
I can say that Coach Monroe has made a big impact in my life. And even going about speaking already brings me to tears because a lot in my life I had to push for what I need. I had to be my own support. I had to be my own motivation. And coming to A&T, um, and meeting somebody like Coach Monroe, it's refreshing to know that I have somebody that's gonna, pour confidence into me. It doesn't have to be me. Somebody that sees my potential and it's not only me. Um, Somebody that was there for me through a lot and I can confide in track and outside of track. She has been a big light to me and I'll do anything and give my all to make sure that she's good. I am getting a little teary eyed because like I said, she's a big role model in my life.
Wow.
Yep.
And yeah.
Definitely, like she was saying. I know she's gonna be watching this, so you're not gonna get no tears out of me. I'll let Julia do all of the tears. But kind of going back to what she said, yeah, she's so much more than a coach. She's uh, if I had the words to describe her, I would. She's one of those, and I'm sure as soon as we get off of here, the first person I'm gonna probably call, or the first person that's gonna call me, is gonna be her. So
Coach.
yeah, so we definitely have that relationship. And I kind of give you a story. So it's a young lady who's in the portal right now. She's trying to transfer here, and so she asked about Coach Monroe, and I just kind of sat in silence, because you really can't explain just the type of love and encouragement that she gives us. And I think something how Julia said earlier that a thrower has to have is confidence. And I think that confidence is instilled through the head, and I definitely believe that she's instilled that confidence in us and the belief and things of that nature. And so she's always been a great support system, someone who we can always count on, whether that's track or it's life, if it's relationships, if it's family problems. She's at first she was an extension of our family. Now she is family, and so I definitely think she means more to us than just, track and field. I remember getting dropped off and being so nervous because I come from a great support system. I have excellent parents. They show up at every single track meet. And I was more so nervous if I would have someone who could fill in the gap, and I think she did more to fill in the gap. I think she exceeded that. She exceeded that role. She became very much more than I was saying than a coach.
And I come from a very vice versa. My parents worked 24/7. They weren't able to be at the big meets or the small meets. My parents just all in all came to one meet ever in my entire life. But that's just because they worked so hard to make sure that I have the life I have now. So for the fact that I came and I had a support system, I was given a support system. I was given somebody that I can lean on and everything. And I'm not used to certain stuff like that. I have my siblings, I have my family, but to the extent where she could be a back I can cry on or somebody I need anytime or any hour I can call her. Coach Monroe is definitely like, showed me different and showed me that I'm not always by myself. It doesn't gotta be always me that carries the weight on my back, that somebody else can share the weight with me and carry me along too. Uh, so I'm really appreciative of her. I'm really appreciative of the long years that she's given with me and the patience that she's had with me because a lot of people patience is everything like he was saying before and a lot of people don't have that patience. Some people don't see the vision that that you have or have the same type of beliefs that you have in yourself. And she definitely had that. She definitely had the strength, the courage, the potential. The days that I didn't have it, she had it. The days I doubted myself, she was telling me that I was more than the doubt. And stuff like that. And the days where I couldn't even see myself being there, she saw myself there and pushed me to be there. There's even just the other day, it's pouring rain and I didn't even think these discus throws can go well. And she's telling me, well, You can throw better. It doesn't matter. You need to be the one that's the most prepared at every situation and stuff like that. It could pouring rain at conference, and you got to be the best thrower. I know you're going to be the best thrower. So these last two throws that I'm going to have you do, even though you don't want to do them, you're going to be the best ones. And they actually ended up being my best ones out of the whole day, soaking wet. So just in moments where you don't even see yourself doing good, she's still pouring light into you. And I'm not complete. Well, I'm not completely used to having that 24/7. So she's definitely been a big factor in my life and a big change in my life, to get me to where I am right now.
Definitely.
Shout out to Coach Monroe. Happy
Yeah, she
belated
all right.
Mother's Day to her.
She
She
all
Uh,
okay,
right.
I
She
guess.
okay. She okay.
that baby has a lot of big cousins, so no
Yeah,
question about
definitely.
that. And we will be at Marcus T. Johnson Track tomorrow. The CAA Outdoor Championships, North Carolina A&T State University will host those. We've hosted many meets at A&T, so this is kind of on the small side for us when you think about JOs and some of the bigger meets
Hmm.
that we youth meets that we've hosted over the summer. But give it a hearty welcome to the CAA, to Aggie Land this week, Wednesday. Field events start at 10 a.m. and then we'll come back again on Thursday, hopefully with two outdoor championships in
Definitely.
tow with us. No question about it. Let me talk about before we go, let me talk about the future plans of these two throwers, starting with Braden. Where do we see you in about 10 years, man? What's the game plan for you?
So in about 10 years, I actually want to go back and be a strength coach. So so like I said, sports in Texas is big, and I was impacted by a lot of strength coaches. So going back and being able to do that and give back to kids that were like me, and give back to those who they might need an extra push, they might need someone in their corner. And I'm gonna hate to say this, but I almost be their coach Monroe, and so, be someone for them. So in about 10 years, definitely that, still coming out here to support. I love this team. I love this university, and that's not just saying it, that's not me being cliche. I really, really have embraced this school as they've embraced me. So coming back, you'll see me in 10 years, and hopefully my record is still standing. Alex, if you're watching, I don't want you to break it, and anyone after you. So in 10 years, I'll be back here, rooting them on. Hopefully they can do something as good as I've done in the past.
And then for me, I'm currently in the mission of being a physical therapist for pediatrics and sports medicine. Um, Right. And I also decided that I really like, the coaching aspect of things. So as I'm trying to go in and get into doctorate school and potentially be your future physical therapist in the sports medicine and pediatric world, my own firm. I also want to get into coaching because, I realized that that's something that I didn't realize I would like. I didn't see that it was my calling at the moment, in a sense of how much inspiration and how much um light I can put into people while showing them the skills that I was given myself to make sure that they get to the same place as well. Um, so yeah, that's where I really see myself in the future, having my own physical therapy clinic. And then on the side, coaching little teams, um, getting them good like I was, and being their support and being their coach and being their light so they can be able to excel and maybe look back and say the same things that I say about my coach today, you know. Yeah.
Definitely
Big
not.
shout out, man. I enjoyed this tonight. Julia Wilso and Braden Hodges. And hey, good luck this week. Yeah, I know you guys are going to do big things. You guys are champions many times over. I want to play a little game with you guys before we go. We're going to rank these top 5 track events, but you're not going to know what's going to come next. So you have to
Okay.
pick a
Okay.
ranking without knowing what's coming next. All right?
Are we
Okay.
gonna do this in unison or we're doing two different ones?
Two different ones. Let's do
Okay.
different ones. But yeah, ladies first. Let's
Okay.
go. All right, here we go. It'll be the same events though. All right, 400 meters. Where would you rank it? Top 5.
Like as like hardest or
No,
easiest
no, just the one you like
to
watching.
watching. 400 meters. What's one? Is one good?
One is
One's
Yeah,
better.
good.
one is
5 is
good.
short.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna put it at 3.
3. Okay. All right. What
You want
about
me
you,
to
bro?
go as well?
Yeah.
I gotta say two. I love the four. I think sometimes the one is too short. The eight is too long, but the four almost a sweet spot. So I would definitely put the 400 at number two.
All right, cool. I like the commentary too. Kind of back up your thing though. I like that.
Yeah, let them know my mind. Yeah.
400 hurdles.
Ooh, God.
I'm gonna put her at 4. That is a very hard event, and I hate to see him do it. It's just so like, but it's actually very much entertaining as well. It's just like the 400, but with a little obstacle. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah, I'll go 3. I think like I said, I'm a trackhead, so I kind of get into it a lot, but I think it's cool to see. I think the 400 hurdles is not just a race, it's more so a rhythm.
Mhm.
So you have to maintain a rhythm. And if you're trying to be a 13 stepper, you can see on hurdle 5 if they're on 13 steps or 15 steps. So it's definitely cool to watch, but I can't give it a bud the 400 just yet.
All right, let's do 100 hurdles / 110 hurdles.
I like the hurdles. I'm gonna put it at 2.
Okay.
I'm definitely gonna put it at 2. It's very.
Wait, so you did 2 for so you did the 100 hurdles, and 400 hurdles, and then the 4.
The 4 goes 3rd.
Okay, and
And
then the
the
400
hurdles goes 4th.
I don't know if I like your list. Keep going. Keep going.
But the 100 hurdles goes 2nd. I love it. I don't know why. That's what really watching Paula do it, and even watching my close friend now, like Luciana, do it, is just so much. It's very entertaining. And even when I would watch the Olympics, that was the one thing I actually really loved to watch. That and the sprints on the 100 and 200 as well. So yeah.
Yeah, so that's a surefire number 1 for me.
Okay.
Yeah, number 1, like, and especially now, the hurdles are the best event. Maybe outside of the throws, the hurdles are the best events, in the world right now, top to bottom for the men and the women. So that's something definitely, that I love. And I might be a little biased. My girlfriend is a hurdler, so I might be a little biased. I might be, but
Might be, yeah.
yeah, I might be,
But you might be a smart man too. That might
yeah. She probably watching, so yeah. That's why. Yeah.
All right, cool. I'll give you the glamour 100 meters.
1. I like watching them 1. I do, because that's what I grew up watching. Every time my dad put on the Olympics, it was always the 1 or the 2, but especially the 1. That's actually what got me into doing track in the first place. Because remember, I wasn't a thrower the whole time. The 1 was one thing I really liked to do. And watch.
It wasn't that fast, y'all.
Okay, but
we race a lot.
Pass the
She wasn't that fast, y'all. We race a lot.
So it was my favorite thing to watch growing up. Every time the Olympics came on, I always waited for the 100. So it's gonna have to be my 1.
Yeah, I think it depends on who I'm watching. If I'm watching Cambria Sturgis, it could be 1. But if I'm watching Juliet Wosu, man, it might be 5. It might be 5. So. But in all honesty, it might be 5 for me. I don't think it's not. I think I wouldn't say people overhype it, but in most cases, it's a 10-second race. When the guns snap, if you look down and grab your phone, the race is over. So I'm gonna have to go 5 on that one.
Oh gosh.
All right. So Julia, that means number 5 for you is the 800 meters, and
the 800 meters.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And then number 4 for Braden is the 800 meters.
See, I kind of knew it was gonna be the 800. That's perfect. That's perfect. I love that. I love that list.
So you love your list.
That list.
You love your list. Okay. What about you, Julie? You like your list?
Oh yeah, it's perfect. It's set right on top.
Okay. Got 2 perfect lists. All right. That doesn't always happen. So beautiful. Hey, see you guys tomorrow. See you guys on Thursday. Remember, you can watch it on Flow College as well. Watch these 2 young folks, man. They are really good at what they do, shot put, discus. It's going to be a very exciting time for North Carolina A&T, a very exciting moment for us to host CAA Outdoor Track and Field Championships this year. Thank you guys for your time, and we'll see you next time on the podcast. Bye-bye.
All right.
Definitely. Thank y'all. Have a good